The report suggests there is a column on caste, the caste census, which is the census, which
that
is
was there in
going
2011
to be,
also.
yeah, but whether you'll make it, they didn't make it public. Then the question is, will you make it public? The fact is, the process will be ready in 18 months. Who knows with Narendra Modi whether by 2026 he sees the possibility that I will trump my rivals by saying, okay, I'm going ahead and putting out
Rajat, what's
the
your
caste
reading
census.
within the BJP? Will they go ahead and do this caste census? Will they make the details public?
Again, I would agree with Rajdeep. It is dependent on a lot of intermediary events that happen. If they are able to consolidate a couple of states in these 4 elections and they're able to do something in Bihar as well, if they win Bihar, I don't think they would go with the caste census. If things start changing even there, Prime Minister Modi will do everything under his right to actually go back and course correct on the Samajwad issue.
Let me show the response to that question. We ask people this question: should there be a caste census? And I want to compare with the last poll because it shows how the mood has changed. 59% earlier said yes, there should be a caste census. That's now gone up by 15% to 74. Earlier, 28% said no, there shouldn't be a caste census. That's now come down. So what that shows is that there is a polarization of opinion, not just among BJP supporters, because that's only 37% of the national vote. 74% Yashwant Deshmukh are saying hona chahiye caste census.
Because they feel like, do it. I mean, what are you fearing of? I mean, it's more like, because the thing is, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe were always taken part as the census details. You get all the details and each and every caste within the scheduled tribe and scheduled caste. Now it is only a question of adding the OBC part of it. It might be a political issue for you for implementation on the issues of reservation and everything, but as far as the common man is concerned, getting him or her counted, and big number, almost 50% of this population belongs to that OBC category in that way, that way. So for them, it is a question, okay, what's the problem? I am.
No, but there are many problems.
I tell you, it's a political problem. It's what they say, it's a political problem for you. It's not a problem for me. You ask me, I am willing to tell my caste. So it's a problem for you, you are asking it or not. So
But Sanjay Jha, if it's so simple, why can't the Congress begin by implementing it in Karnataka? You already have a state government, you have a poll over there, the poll is being done, you have the caste data, make it public.
Well, Rahul, I have never quite understood why this data is not made public. And for the simple reason that if you look at the Bihar caste survey that was done, it was pretty apparent that this is a matter that should concern all of us. I mean, the data was disturbing. 85% of the people are backward, 15% are forward. That's pretty much as we expected. But look at the number of people who are graduates, 7%, postgraduates, 1%. 4% of the people having two-wheelers and 1% of the people having cars. I mean, tells you that the level of aggravated inequality in this country should worry us all. And I haven't understood why politicians in this country don't bite the bullet, because they will have to. It will make you frame better policies.
You see hypocrisy here, that in Karnataka where there is a caste census, it's not made public, and Rahul Gandhi is claiming everywhere else, karo re, khud kiya hua, usi ko public karo.
Siddharamaiah did the caste census and selectively leaked the part of it which said that Vokaligas Lingayats are not 18-17%, only 12%. So there was also selective leak of that caste census when Siddharamaiah was last time Chief Minister.
Rahul, in Indian politics, where you stand depends on where you sit. It's very simple. In 2009, when Veerappa Moily was trying to drive the whole caste census through the Congress party, there was resistance because there was a feeling that this would open up a Pandora's box. The moment you're in opposition, you realize that this is an opportunity for you to project yourself as a party that stands for the OBCs in particular. I think one of the biggest changes in Indian politics in the last 10 years or 20 years now is the OBCization of Indian politics. And where Narendra Modi has really dramatically changed the BJP's fortunes, is made the BJP much more of an OBC party than it ever was in the Vajpayee-Advani era. Now the Congress needed to compete with that. How do you compete with that? You tell the OBCs, look, jitni abadi utna haq. And you completely try and change the narrative and therefore make caste census central to your political agenda. You didn't do it in government, you do it in opposition. And Siddharamaiah knows that if he is to bring out the caste census, it will unleash all kinds of forces in Karnataka, Vokaligas, Lingayats, Kurubas, And will you be able to handle it?
But then Siddaramaiah should speak to Rahul Gandhi and explain the problems in doing it.
Look, as I said at the very outset, where you stand depends on where you sit. And I think one of the challenges in handling, I don't think personally there's anything wrong, and there should be, as a pure academic exercise,
Exactly.
at least
As a
a
data
caste
scientist
census.
as well.
I mean, in Maharashtra, all kinds of numbers are being thrown up as to what is the Maratha population.
No, but there is a problem.
Nobody knows the exact number.
It's not that simple. I'll tell you why. Because there are many people who will claim to be of a particular caste. When the census happens, you can give any caste, right? Now, the enumerator who comes, how is he qualified to verify what caste? If I want to claim we can't, but I'm saying the other people who will claim to be, say, a tribal or a Dalit or an OBC, and they'll all want to be in that category. Which is what happened in 2011.
Rahul, if you want, where there is a will, there is a way. My problem in Indian politics is so polarized that the moment you are in opposition, you say one thing, when you are in government, you say the other, and the other side does exactly the opposite. You don't want to give you don't want to give your opponent even the slightest political advantage on what ideally should be issues that should be discussed by dialogue
So this
in
is
Parliament.
even Chidambaram, for that matter, when he was looking after the census efforts, he came out with an intellectual justification. What Rahul is actually saying here, that you cannot in a guaranteed way say that the data that you have acquired is actually correct, legitimate, because who is claiming to what caste? They might be
But the
saying
same
that this
Mr. Chidambaram is the head of the manifesto committee of the
because
Congress Party.
because in the opposition. And by the way, this caste boogie, this started off with Christoph Jefferlot writing articles after articles in Indian Express, and I think the core think tank of the Congress Party believed that perhaps this is the only plan that they need to stick on, and they have been sticking, and they have now forced Prime Minister Modi also to a great extent to come out of this Hindutva Rashtravad image and combine Samajwad in its overall thing.
No, he's
And
absolutely right. This is what I have heard, that there's an intellectual group of intellectuals which convinced the Congress leadership that if you want to compete with Hindutva, the only way you can do it is by raising
going
caste
beyond
consciousness.
Radip,
That's how
beyond
politics is
beyond
played.
politics, I think what the common man also understands or says, or likes to say in here, you have an affirmative action policy in place, constitutionally in place. You need to have numbers to implement that. You cannot implement affirmative action without numbers, without data. So there is a strong case that if you want, either you remove that entire affirmative action policy from the constitutional obligation, or if you want to implement it, then you need
And
to
all
have
of us on
data.
this table, and all of us in this studio are speaking as up. And please look at it from an OBC perspective. They are the majority. OBC plus Dalits plus Adivasi are the majority. Here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No, I'm OBC in 3 states.
Yeah, in 3 states, but not in your.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Not in your own state. Not no. So you may want.
What do you mean
want to
OBC?
say
I'm
that-
OBC.
And
I'm not
the
even
fact
sure
is 6
because
of us.
even I have
So
minority Deshmukh.
therefore, Rahul, those who feel left out, it again comes down. A lot of it, and Sanjay Jha alluded to it, inequality is an issue. Across this country, it reflects in different ways. Some believe that a caste census will resolve their inequality issue. It's like reservations. At the end of the day, there are large numbers of people who see reservations as the only weapon by which they can have something remotely like a level playing field. So while we sit here in the studio with our, dare I say, upper caste privilege and say, do we need a caste census? Will it open up all these fault lines? There may be others out there who genuinely believe that this is the only way that they will have anything like a level
it's
playing
good
field.
politics but bad economics. And they're massive.
They're politicians, they're not
don't care-
economists.
They don't care about economics. And I think Prime Minister Modi would be the first one to dish away the economic logic if it comes to any threat that comes to his core politics.
I'll give you an example.
I believe
After
that
10
subjects
years
like
today,
Rohini Commission, all of these things you will hear much, much more. Because once this caste survey and those data will trickle in, he would want to see some kind of a pivot around which he can come in and become a greater messiah of all these sub-reservations within the reservation
No, but
class.
Today, the
Can I
Prime
just
Minister,
explain?
Rahul, just
No,
to
one
say,
second, it's
today
not-
Prime Minister Modi is to meet Union of Government Employees for the first time in 10 years. What's on the mandate? Do we bring back the old pension scheme or not? Look,
Yeah,
this
the
is how,
OPS scheme,
this is
yeah,
how
that's the
politicians are. They sense, they will have to be flexible if the reality on the ground changes. You adapt to the reality.
Can I just explain without
He's
any...
speaking as the business today man.
No. Without any upper caste privilege or any such thing being involved, just from a practical administration perspective, you come to a marginal upper caste, right? Not those who are doing very well. who for all economic purposes feel that they are lower caste but happen to be classified as upper caste. When you come and do that, like for example, Ganchi Teli in Gujarat wasn't OBC earlier, it became OBC later, right? So there's a big debate about where you classify them. They'll all start classifying themselves as OBCs.
But look
so
at
the
how this
percentage
country-
of
No, you're right,
OBCs...
Rahul, look at what happened. Let me tell you politically how it happened in this country.
but no,
The
Rajdeep.
BJP lost, just a minute, BJP lost Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh in 2019, in 2018 December. What was one of the first things they did? They went and ensured that the economically disadvantaged group, irrespective of caste, got reservations.
And
What did,
there is a big
what did
support
our
for that.
Supreme Court do? Despite the 50% rule that is there otherwise,
They allowed it.
They allowed it.
They allowed it.
Please understand how this country works. Will you allow it tomorrow when there is debate, when the backward castes in different parts of the country say, jitni abadi utna, then you'll say, nahi, 50% hai. But the moment it came to economically disadvantaged
But
group,
Jitni-
which is a fair way to look at
Rajdeep.
it. I'm an upper caste person of low income, why should I not get
There
reservations?
is huge
But you
support.
gave it.
But there is already
huge
that 10%
support.
for you.
That's what I'm
If
saying.
you are that
Rajdeep,
upper
there
caste,
is
gave it
huge
after the
support
2018
for the
elections.
idea. There is huge support for the idea that reservation base should be the economic criteria. There is huge support for the idea for that as well. So, see, what the
Huge
public,
support from whom?
even among the OBCs.
Sir,
It's
you are
only
seeing...
amongst the OBCs.
Okay,
Can I,
Yesterday you
can I,
had a
can I,
Bharat
very
Bandh
quickly,
against
can
it.
I, what is the biggest
You had a
confrontation
Bharat
going to
Bandh
take place
against
in the
it.
country? Over the Supreme Court creamy layer.
Yeah.
The fact is the Supreme Court has gone and said, and many would believe on economic criteria, it's the right thing to say. But out there, every political party
Okay,
associated
no, every
with
was
SC, ST
rejected,
group
yeah.
is
that's
against
right.
it.
Yeah, against
Yesterday
it.
the whole
I
Bharat
am
Bandh
not
was
going to-
against
I am
it.
not
But it is
going to
going to
give
be
up my
relatively
privileges.
easy within the OBC.
Sorry?
That will be creamy layer might be difficult in the SC communities as such, but
But
you know,
OBC will be
reservation
very
within
clear.
reservation in the OBC category is a much more viable
Much more
political
viable
project,
point. Yeah,
and but
you
something
are right.
that BJP would want to tag along and ensure
But
that
you
Rohini
are seeing
Commission.
even on that, even there you are seeing in Maharashtra the battle lines that are being drawn between
Even in
Kurtis and
Karnataka,
Marathas
the
over
Bhukaligas
that.
Lingayats say that we want to be part
I'm
of the
just
OBC.
saying these are very, very tricky issues. Very tricky.